so blessed. The holidays are here. We had a great live event at the CWCBE in New York. Everybody, this is Jeff Eichen with Weeds Day. We had World 420 Day last. I'm driving this ship today, everybody. So how am I doing? I got my cool shirt on today too. That's a new Hawaiian shirt. You like it, Tommy?
Oh, nice. Yeah, very nice.
That's
Very
the new
nice.
Hawaiian, the new Hawaiian shirt. I've got like 4 of them now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like them. Yeah, very nice.
I wore my cool shirt too, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see this, but
And Tommy, I just remind you, this is my good friend of like 40 years, Rodimus Para. He played Grasshopper in Kung Fu.
Oh, right.
And he said that he knew Ray Don in the old days.
Yeah. She's doing very well now.
glad to hear that.
Yeah, she's working the vampire movie, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, with
nice.
she's going to New Orleans to work there. Yeah,
Cool.
she's back in making the bucks again. That's good.
That's so nice to hear. I'm very happy for her. Please tell her
Thank you.
Rodimus says hi when next time you talk to her.
I will tell her. I'll talk to her later on today. I'll tell her.
Cool. Thank you.
Before we do our little intro here, I have a little intro made up here. If you have time today, Tommy, we're going to be doing some banter. We're going to watch for the holidays. I decided today is the beginning of December. We're going to watch the original Reefer Madness, and in the background we're going to laugh, and I'll pause it and we'll say absurd and just. I've never watched the whole thing. You know, have you ever seen it, Tommy?
Oh yeah, many times.
Okay,
Many times.
well, today we're going to do that, but we'd like to spend some time with you first, in case you don't have enough time to stay with us on that. And
I really don't. I'm getting ready to go up to Vancouver, so I was just in the other room getting tested.
Oh,
to get
nice.
across the border. Yeah,
Right. Are you building a hemp house in Vancouver?
I'm getting ready to, for sure.
Do you know my friend Noah that he's doing hempcrete domes with the 3D printer?
I don't know him, but I definitely want to get a hold of him because I'm
Yes.
going to be doing something like that.
Because we're in Washington, we're only 3 hours. We're near Bellingham, and so that's only right on the border.
Yeah.
And Noah lives here, and we just walked a property yesterday. And remember, kids, Noah can build a 200 square foot dome in one day and help to save homeless. So
Yeah.
So we're going to totally get together with you and show you all of his stuff. And then maybe he can do an ADU at your house out of hemp.
Yeah, well, what I want to do is create dome villages.
Well, definitely, we're gonna be smoking with Noah because he's a really incredible soul. He's my age, and so it's an honor to be navigating this. I also met a lady in New York, Tommy, that that is doing a project where she's selling tokens for $1. She's going to be raising $1 million for the million tokens at the conference in New York a couple weeks ago, and she doesn't want to really be involved architecturally in building homes. She wants to save the people that are losing their homes due to rent. And so she's paying 16 rents right now with her project. And it's really amazing. So she's actually people that are going to lose their homes because not the Biden administration, but the whole program, where they weren't allowed to kick you out of your house because of COVID, is stopping. And she says 12 million people are going to be homeless in the next 12 months.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We need to help people like that.
And Dan was going to try to come in today, Dan Harrer, and in September we're doing a golf tournament to raise funds for the prisoner fund that I'm doing called Relief. and I met up with Steve D'Angelo in New York also, and we're going to have a golf tournament. It's going to be fantastic, and we're going to have an auction, and all the money is going to go into a fund for the prisoners to each get $30,000 when they come home for food and shelter as our gift.
It's very nice. I like that idea.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk to you about I talked to Steve D'Angelo about my latest film that I want to do, and that's about the families. And I said, we'll go to their barbecues. Forget the Zoom movie. We'll go to their barbecues, fly in for the day, and film the families and interview them. How they say that when you put me in jail, you put my family in jail.
You do, and it's harder on them actually than it is on the prisoners. Believe it or not, because they have to navigate the world outside of the prison, and the visitors get treated a lot worse than the prisoners. Believe me.
So, Tommy, between you and me and Steve D'Angelo, I think that doing a movie with all the prisoners that are home. Michael Thompson is home now. Michael Thompson, who you say, give a shout out to Michael and say, Michael, we'll get with you soon.
Hey.
And congratulate Michael for coming home, and that we'll get to him soon for sure.
Hey, Michael, congratulations on your homecoming, dude.
That's great, and we'll get to you, Michael. And Michael, we want you to help us for sure, and have a safe and great holidays. We'll have you on our show soon. And welcome, Dan. Dan, say hello to Tommy.
Tommy, hey, Michael.
I have my Dr. Demento whistle, you guys. So say hi to Tommy, Dan.
Hey, Tommy, how are you, brother?
Good to see Dan, you what's up? You too, bro.
Yeah, working hard,
You're looking more and more like your dad. I don't know. Is that good or bad? That's good.
Well,
that's good.
As long as I get to participate in the cannabis space, it doesn't matter whether I look like him or just resemble him. I'm just happy to be a part of this whole world and continuing to try to change the narrative and the hopes of, bringing home folks that have been persecuted from this horrible, prohibition and the attack on people and a plant. To be able to build friendships with those, like Jeff and you, Tommy, and so many others that have spent their life both enjoying cannabis and fighting for it. And, the fight is not over.
No, and it's worth fighting for,
every day.
It's good. Yeah. We're winning. We're always winning,
Well, you would hope that the truth will always win out.
Yeah, eventually, but we live in a very physical environment, and so there's opposites always.
Yeah.
And so for all the evil in the world, there's a little bit more good. I think it's about 20% more, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we are winning. Yes, I think we're winning. I think more are jumping on board because they're bored with the dark.
Well, no, they get enlightened. People, fear will paralyze you. And there's the fear of losing income. And so if your income, it depends on putting innocent people in jail, and you're losing that job, you have a right to fear, but then you also have a duty to change. You see, we always have to be flexible enough to know, know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
And you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of that is that have this fear instilled into them throughout their entire development as an adolescent, a youth, a young adult. And it's so hard to break away from the narrative that they were taught, that fear is still instilled in them, even as they start to hear the truth.
But here's the thing, Dan. Darkness is only the absence of light.
Yes, I agree.
And ignorance is only the absence of knowledge. Now, once you instill the knowledge in people, their reflex it's a reflex to reject it.
Absolutely.
And so that's why it takes patience. When you're baking a cake, looking and taking it out of the oven before it's too soon doesn't help the cake. Right. So we got to let everything simmer and cook and become ripe before we move in there. And that's why we don't want to concentrate on the negative. What we want to do is know it's there and use the power that it generates to re-educate and to help others. And the best way to do that is to make sure that we ourselves personally are clean and clear.
Authentic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very well said.
Yeah. Authentic. Yeah. Yes. So,
and I think that, individuals like yourself that, despite the years of fighting, that have not given up on the spreading of truth and education without it being shoved down somebody's throat. It's a way of interacting with the especially the uneducated community that pushes back, and give them opportunities to allow their walls to come down through just persistence of hearing this narrative and seeing the truth of cannabis and how it really truly changes not only idealisms, but not only the narrative, but it changes communities. It changes when people start seeing how cannabis changes lives, like they did as CBD started to help take the fear out of cannabis, and people started, relaxing and not fearing so much if there was this plant that didn't get you high, but helped you and maybe, relieved your pain. And then if they could believe in that, then they could take another step forward and believe in the THC side, or at least not fear it to the point where they're reactive to it and more receptive to it. And I think this is where we're at, is we're trying to get people not to react from the narratives that they were taught, and try to embrace this I don't want to say it's a new truth, but to most people, the truth of cannabis is new because it's been hidden. And the fact that we're out exposing these truths and we're sharing the stories of cannabis and how it enlightens communities and raises them up and changes people's lives for the better, that, it's lowering death rates amongst overdose of those who are taking opiates and other drugs that are not just mind altering but body limiting, and the ability for us to share and impart how important and how powerful this plant is in changing how we survive as a species, that it becomes not necessarily easier to change that narrative, but it becomes easier for us to be more patient, like you said, with how people are allowing themselves to embrace it. And it's just a wonderful time to be a part of this space, as we're really coming out of the darkness and into the light because of real information and because of real interactions with this plant, that people are taking their own personal stories and sharing them with the world, that actually connects to people who have been on the other side of this. And they're starting to, like with Prop 15, or excuse me, Prop 215 back in '96, it got people to think about cannabis without fear, because they were starting to feel with their heart and how it affected those directly connected to them. And now it's a whole nother level, because it's not just about the health and well-being of their family member or their friend, but it's also about the health and well-being of this planet and how we survive on it. And I think that it starts to really become this snowball going downhill, that more people are coming into the cannabis space because they're being touched by the opportunities of changing the world, changing their ideas, and really creating this new narrative that we have to really illuminate the future and the opportunities that we have with this and the community.
I agree totally. I'm so proud of you for sharing that, Dan. It's really important for us to, it's important for us on my show to make our voices heard and louder. We're going global with our POD TV, formerly of IBM TV, and we're in Ecuador, we're in Mexico. Paul Stanford was going to come in today from Peru. He's down in Peru at a hemp festival. And
I'm in France.
And Rodimus is in France.
Yeah.
Hi,
What part of France?
How you doing,
Paris?
Good, man. Thank you. Well, what was that, Tommy? I mean,
Are you in Paris? Paris?
I'm just about half an hour, 45 minutes outside of Paris.
What's the town?
It's outside of a city called Reims or Reims.
Oh, Reims. Yeah. I know. Yeah. I lived in Paris for a couple of years, almost 4 years.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Yeah, I've been here for just a little bit over 4 years now myself, and I'm at the epicenter of the Champagne growing and processing area. So very interesting.
Eventually, it's going to be the hemp area growing.
I was in California at the hemp grow with Larry Serbin a few weeks ago or a month ago, and there was somebody who was making hemp vodka.
Wow.
It was all bottled and done and finished, and it was beautiful. And they were distilling the hemp plant, so it was remarkable. I had a little taste. I'm not a vodka aficionado, but I'm just blessed that we are all showing the rewards. I mean, here, let me pin myself here because I'm not getting big here. The rewards of hemp plastic. This is made in Italy. This is hemp plastic. I mean, why not have our food, delivered in hemp plastic that biodegrades in 20 days, It's absurd that we're stuck in this old paradigm, as Dan was alluding to, that we're stuck there. In '96, Dan, do you remember your dad gave me the initiative and I flew it to Sacramento?
I do.
I was the only one that wasn't boned out, and it was going to be late the next day, and I took $301 bills to Southwest Airlines and flew up there in my khakis, and I didn't wear this shirt. I wore an alligator shirt, a lacrosse shirt, and I walked right into the state capitol, and the lady who took the initiative out of my hands, she said, "Can I have that button you're wearing?" And it was Hemp Will Save the Planet button. And she took it off and she was putting it on, and I was like in tears as the elevator doors were closing.
Yeah, I remember those buttons. I remember. I think it was Michael M. that designed it.
Right. It was the globe, and it said "Hemp will save the planet." Well, we are at a great space and time here, and I'm just so proud of my team. We're going to be doing a lot for the prisoners. That's mainly for the rest of my life. I want to dedicate my life to my friend who just died, Todd, who was teaching flow and magic. And because we're so articulate, even the prisoners that come out, there's just no reason why we can't be heard. So with the next movie I want to make about the families, I hope you all get involved. And with our golf tournament that we're planning for Jack, we're just really excited to raise the funds to help our prisoners get restitution because the government ain't going to give it.
They might. We got a new administration in there. Even though Joe Biden is, one of the old guards, it's not up to him. It's up to the Senate and the Congress, and they're getting ready to legalize it federally.
The MORE Act.
I think they're just waiting for to destroy the Trump people, by exposing them to what they've done and what they're doing, and as long as that stays in the news, that's I know it's frustrating for a lot of people, but if you look at what's really going on, because these politicians that get looked down upon, they're very wise and they can see the future. It may not appear that way. They may, like Joe Biden, for instance, he sometimes appears, kind of slow and so on. But it's not Joe. It's the people behind Joe.
Let's not forget too, that he was Obama's vice president for 8 years.
8 years. 8 years, yeah. No, so, Obama, he had to govern with one hand behind his back, because thanks to the Republicans, the Mitch McConnells and that. But it was okay because they set the form. It's like creating anything. You don't get it instant. You have to set the stage. You have to take a few steps back and then a bunch of steps forward. But what I'm saying now, and what I know now, because I have a direct contact with the Biden administration. I'm right in there, and no one was set outright what they're doing, but I can read between the lines and I can see what they're doing. And what they're doing is they're hogging the narrative, the press narrative. And every time you turn on TV, it's something about the insurrection. It's something about someone, so they're dragging that out purposely so that they're really destroying the Trumpies that are in the news now. And eventually they won't be eliminated because we need them. We need that ignorance around there. We need it because that shows you the alternative. We got the truth, and then we got their version of the truth, and so what's really going down now is going to speed up as we get closer to the midterms. Because if you notice, everybody's going, the Republicans are gerrymandering. They're Trump's going to run again. All that ain't going to happen. However, it's good to let the voters that are, lackadaisical, like if anybody were to tell the truth and say, Biden's going to win by a landslide, or the Republican or the Democrats are going to win, then a lot of people that we need to vote would not vote. And so we got to stay the underdog. And that's the same as hemp too. The thing is about hemp, this is what I found out with my comedy, is that it's better to get everybody liking you and laughing at you than it is to start lecturing and start creating enemies. What you want to do is you want to create friends, because friends can really convince other friends the truth. Because a lot of the truth, like I know for a fact, I grew up in a very racist town, but I never hated anybody, even the most racist person, because the most racist person in town was my neighbor, by the way, and he had a couple of black Labradors, and guess what he named them? Yeah, That's what he named her. Every night I'd hear him go out, here, boy, here, so-and-so, here, and then, here, every night. And he had 2 daughters. And even though, I'm not black, but I'm dark enough to be considered, on that thing, because I was nice and not confrontational or militant in any way. They became my friends, and you can do more with love than you can with hate.
I agree with you. Anytime I'm on an airplane and I end up sitting next to somebody, she's tried to start a conversation, and when I realize that they're more conservative in sort of the other camp, I don't let them know what my beliefs are. I just start asking them questions about their beliefs, and I let them talk their stuff to me. And what I do by doing that is I've opened them up, and I find the common ground. I always go to the common ground first, because that's what builds the bridges. And that's what then allows you to work in maybe a slightly more progressive idea that's actually tied to one of their ideas already. And you just kind of build that bridge. And it's like fascinating. I've had it happen so many times now in conversations. And at the end of the conversation, they're kind of a little like confused, but not really. They're kind of like, I've never kind of ventured out that far in my thinking, but this guy has just shown me that we have common ground, so that's
exactly. When I was on CNN one time, what's her name now? She's on with the pretty eyes. Anyway, she asked me about cannabis. She said something about cannabis, and I said no. Well, it was my thing about hemp will save the world. And she said, well, hemp isn't is that different than marijuana? I said, oh yeah, it's really different. And how so? I said, well, marijuana is the female plant. Hemp is the male plant. So it's the females that are made illegal, but the male was totally legal. In other words, they're so ignorant. They don't know that they don't really know what they're talking about. They're just reading what they're told to read by the sponsors and by the people. And so what I've done, like I became a darling on Fox News for a while, because every time they'd have me on, their ratings would go crazy, because I would be the opposite of Bill O'Reilly or any of those guys. And the ratings would go crazy because they liked that interaction, know?
Well, also where they liked where you were coming from too, that you were a bridge builder. That's one of your gifts, so.
Yeah, because it's not about, and everybody, especially the jazz musicians, because they were the ones that really turned me on to the magic of cannabis, and they were also the ones that would kept me away from the opioids or the heroin, because I asked one junkie, heroin user, very good friend of mine. He was a good friend of Lenny Bruce. And in fact, he was the one that sold Lenny the stuff that killed him eventually. And so I asked him seriously, we had a serious talk, and I said, what is the power of heroin? Why are people like Lenny or Miles and all these guys that really literally died early and destroyed their lives over this drug?
Opium.
Yeah, and so I asked him about it. He didn't say a word. He reached in his pocket, pulled out a little packet of heroin, and he gave it to me. And I took the packet. I was shocked, and I put it in my pocket. Then later, I hid it in my sock drawer in the house, and I kept it for about a month. And then it dawned on me what he was trying to say. He was saying, there's no explanation. Try it. And so instead of trying it, I flushed it down the toilet, because I seen the examples of what it does to the most intelligent people on the planet. So how am I, the least not as intelligent as these guys. How am I going to withstand, the assault on the body that the heroin attacks with? You see, and so I threw it away. That was a test, and the trouble with a lot of people right now, and it's ordained that you're going to have your share of junkies no matter what the drug is. Because that's the nature of our
it's an
addictive
community we have, the mankind, and we have to pull us out of the addiction, and marijuana is not physically addictive.
No, but here's the way you do it. This is the only way to do it. If anybody's ever been in rehab it's the 12-step program. The 12-step program, that's a junkie's last chance at life, really. And this 12-step program really is recognizing the higher power. That is what it is. And what I found is that cannabis is directly related to the higher power. Cannabis is God's gift to us, so that we can enjoy
as our mushrooms.
Yeah. Yes. Well, look at mushrooms. Look at the whole plant world. The whole plant world is for our enjoyment. It's for our enjoyment. And if we treat it without respect, and if we're going for the wrong reasons, and that's why I am in the position I am in now. Right now, I just got off the making commercials for my CBD products. Like this guy is Good Vibes. It's not addicting. CBD with other stuff, and this is Nice Dreams.
It's great for animals too. It's great for animals.
Absolutely. Remember back in the days they used to make jokes about loco weed,
right?
Yeah. And how the cows or the horses would get into the loco weed, and then they would be stoned for a couple of days, and you couldn't keep them away from the loco weed. And they were like stoned.
Well, there was a movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy 2.
Yes.
And the fruit would drop off when it got fermented, and only the daring animals would go, and they would eat and they would get drunk, and then they would start making love in the forest. And they filmed this. And what's wrong with having some marijuana or some fermented fruit that makes you have fun instead of opium that takes you crazy and alcohol that makes you angry?
Well, just to be fair, I mean, opium is a plant also, and so is the coca plant. So I mean, it's all in nature, but it has to do with how you use it and if you abuse it. And of course, addiction is an issue, as you mentioned, all across the board.
Everything in moderation.
You can get addicted to anything,
But going back to the 12-step program, is the higher power.
Tommy,
that is the key.
They say that all addicts have a God-shaped hole. They have a God-shaped hole in them, all addicts, So by that token, when you find a higher power, if you want to call it God or if you want to call it higher power, it doesn't matter really, because it's the same principle happening. When you access that, when you bring it into your life, it's always there. When you start seeing that it's a part of your life, then you can act in accordance with it, and it instructs you as to how to live a good life that is good for everybody.
But you got to remember too, is that we can't have one without the other. We can't have good without having bad, because in fact, to me, what I've learned is the spiritual world is all good. The spiritual world is nothing but love, and that's why the spiritual world isn't as wide and big as the physical world. Now, the physical world is endless. as is the spiritual world. But everything has its opposite. And what is the opposite of everything? Nothing. Now, my theory, I just come to it not too long ago, is that when we die, we go back to spirit, but we don't stay in the spirit world. Why? Because when we die, we really just dropped out of school. And so what happens when you die, you go back to school, and you go back to, and you choose what you want to learn, what you need to learn. You want
That's your core values, because that's your core.
That's right. That's right. And that's why you're going to have the gangsters. You're going to have the evil people. You're going to have the rapists. You're going to have all these people. Why? Because you're still learning. It's all about learning. And that's why there's some spiritualists that believe heaven. If you go to heaven, you would find everybody in heaven. Not just the good people, but the bad people too. Why? Because good and bad only happens in the physical world. It cannot happen in the spiritual world, because there's only good in the spiritual world.
Physical world is a duality. That's the duality.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Tommy,
That's right.
Do you remember Stanley Kubrick, the end of the movie in 2001? He went through that psychedelic moment where he was in bed and he was old. He was way older than you. And he was, all of a sudden, the last scene was he became a baby, an embryo again.
Yes, that's it.
How brilliant.
An evolved embryo, the next step, as it were. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that explains. I had a conversation last night with a very learned doctor. In fact, he was the guy that invented the snooze, the baby crib that everybody is crazy about now. Harvey Karp. He's a baby doctor. Well, I don't know if he was yanking my chain or that, but he knows my spiritual and my metaphysical beliefs, and so he started kind of trolling on me about, aren't you worried about the future? Aren't you worried about the global warming? Aren't you worried about that? And I tried to explain to him. I said, this will always go on. It's not just one and done. This is a physical world that we're in. When you look at the stars in the sky, they're twinkling away because we're so far away from them. But if we were up close, we would see nothing but chaos and conflict and explosions and you talk about
Tommy,
all sorts of things.
Tommy, I just want to support what you're saying, because the older I get, the more perspective I have on the fact that, to me, the world has always been the same way. There's always been the same kind of, like you were saying, same kind of conflict. It used to be a king, and used to be the other king, and then it used to be the people. In other words, conflict and the human condition has been nearly identical for the entire existence of humankind, and it just has different forms, different clothing, different technology. But what's going on a spiritual, personal level is identical throughout time. And
always.
And yeah. So it's a matter of having that understanding, and then you can navigate it without thinking that, oh my gosh, the whole world is just going to hell. It's not. I mean, it's no more than it ever was. It's just that we do have, of course, now the ability to destroy the world with our nuclear, bombs and stuff. But that's not going to happen, I don't think.
But even if we did, even if it blew up, there would be enough of it left to
the hemp and the cockroaches. The hemp and the cockroaches would survive.
You mean Keith Richards and the cockroaches?
Oh, yeah. Same difference. We love you, Keith. Oh. We love you. They just did a tour, I guess.
Yeah.
The Stones, and they're like turning 80 soon.
Oh yeah. They're up there. But and you look at Mick Jagger, for instance. Mick Jagger really is a white guy that was trying to copy a black singer. you know, and because he did such a lousy job at it, he invented the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones really is a guy that tried to dance like James Brown,
Right.
and tried to sing like James Brown too. But he did such a geeky move that it became his own style. and those guys, and that's the other thing that that I've been checking out, because I'm a blues player myself. And in fact, my whole career was started with my involvement with the Black community in Calgary, Alberta, the most racist place in the world. And the thing is, when you deal with racism, the best way to deal with racism is with humor. That's why Louis Armstrong became such a darling for everybody. If you know the real Louis, he was as militant as Malcolm X.
Oh, wow.
But he was such a good actor and such a good musician, and he knew how to navigate. Because when you're in racist waters, you got to learn how to navigate, or you will die. You will be lynched. You will be killed. Like now, just like the riots that were going on in the like George Floyd when he got killed, murdered. The cop had to go to be found guilty. Why? Because he had an 8-minute video of him killing the guy. Had he not had that video, he would have got off. They would have said, well, they would have believed anything else. Just like the Aubrey case. Aubrey, he was murdered. He was chased down and murdered. And when he got convicted, I thought, wow, that's really a big jump for the South. But then I realized 8 of the women on the jury were women. 8 of the white people on the jury were women. Whether that made a difference or not, but I'll tell you, the way that the way you survive in this world is with love, because love, no matter how. That's why the scriptures taught us, turn the other cheek. There's no glory in being the tough guy or hurting anybody. There's no glory in that. And that's why the turning the other cheek is so important. But you have to be evolved to do that. It's not hard. It's not easy to do. And once you're evolved, like we are, like now, I'm preaching to the choir.
It's also why the meek shall inherit the earth.
That's right. Because the meek has always been here. See, it's that explosion that I'm talking about in the stars. That changes.
The meek will cancel each other. I mean, the angry will cancel each other out, and they'll just be the meek people left going,
yeah,
you guys did it to yourselves.
But if it's a physical world, we will have peace for maybe, like now, we're in a peaceful state right now. But all we're doing really is waiting for the next war, because that's it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Yeah. Right. Because of the physicality because the nature. Because if everything was nice, we wouldn't learn anything. We wouldn't be talking. If everybody knew what we know, we would be, again, there would be no choir. There'd be nothing to do.
So what about karma?
Well, that's what karma is. Karma is you're finishing whatever you start, regardless of what it is. Yeah. You're not supposed to steal from others. You're not supposed to. The 10 Commandments tell you everything. Everything that we need to know was written in the first, I think, the chapter of the Bible. In the beginning, there was a void, and then came the Word. Think about that. The Word. A word means communication. We communicated.
Also expression.
Far from instinct. Expression, the Word. And the Word was God. You see, God is the only word that is common to every religion. Every religion worships God. Their version, but there's only one God. there's only one version. There's only one God, and if you know that, then you can quit worrying about it. That's the way I look at it.
When I was alluding to karma, what's your beliefs, everybody on the panel here, about family? How we choose or come into our families, because we know we have incredible children and we have work to do, but just like Dan is doing a really magnificent job of passing on his father's legacy, I'm curious as to reincarnation, or the ability to have our tribe in such a place that it feels right, and the movie that we're in is evidently divine.
Well, it depends. For me, it depends on what you're here to learn. We're all here for a different reason.
Right.
But the common thing, if you want to, I've been talking about this to people, especially the ones last night that were pulling my chain about my beliefs, because I've been hanging around with a lot of very wealthy people, and the reason to hang with me is because I've got something that they don't have. And no matter how rich they have, how much money they have, they don't have what I have, which is recognizable, recognition. When I walk into a restaurant, people know who I am. People want to take pictures with me. People want to talk to me. People want to tell me about how I affected their life. Now, I'm with these very wealthy people, and almost all of them, they're unhappy because the more wealth they acquire, the more problems they seem to have, and they're unhappy mainly because they are separated. You see, poverty will give you company. You will have a lot of people. You'll have a lot of company, like especially if you're living at home and you can't afford, you have to have the whole family live with you. Did I get cut off?
No, we got you.
Oh, okay.
Loud and clear.
Okay. So
Sir Tommy, we're gonna
let him finish, Jeff. Let him finish, Jeff.
The wealthy. So what I've been trying to give the wealthy is a sense of the good that they can do with their wealth.
Right.
You see, because there's no joy in a new car. A new car, all of a sudden, a day later, you're bored. And you can't even remember what you bought. A new boat, same thing. The happiest day of any boat owner is when he sells it, when he turns it over.
The two happiest days, when they buy it and when they sell it, yeah.
The happiest, that's why I've got so many wealthy friends now. They love hanging with me. Why? Because I see them as human beings, as who they are. And the one thing that wealthy people all have in common, most of them can't dance. If you want to be popular, man, be the only guy in the party that can dance. I went to a salsa party with all these wealthy people. I was the only guy that knew how to dance salsa. That and there's a couple of professionals that they hired. And so I'm out there with my wife, and we're dancing salsa like crazy. Every rich guy in the world, they're billions. They're standing there with looking at me and saying, "You son of a bitch," But that it's all about loving yourself. That's what I see.
On that note, I'm going to reset the room, everybody. We're on Weeds Day, everybody. On the fourth week of the month, we always do a prayer, a 42-second prayer for 420 for World 420 Day. We have Tommy Chong, we have Dan Hare, we have Noah Israel, we have Rodimus Para, and Noah just stepped in, and I'd like you to say hello to Tommy Chong. Tommy, Noah does the 3D printing of the domes.
Is Noah Jewish?
Well, inevitably.
That's a hell of a name if you're not.
Yeah, it's both and a burden, but if it didn't have ultimate purpose, it wouldn't mean much. And
the story, the story of Noah is pretty homophobic. Did you know that?
I had
Noah Ham attacked Noah.
Yeah,
his son attacked Noah sexually. Yeah.
Oh well, I was up on that part of the.
Hey, check this one. Hey, check this one out. Noah, he had all the creatures, boy, girl, all the creatures. They didn't put the gay in there.
Noah, why don't you say hi to Tommy and introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, here I am, Noah Israel, and as you were saying, I've had the same experience in many acquaintances, and I feel like the whole bottom line is really a higher purpose and really applying whether it's riches or knowledge to improving our situation as best we possibly can. And I feel like we're fundamentally needing to change paradigm, because basically our operating method of advantage and basically whatever the field is, domination or and as opposed to cooperate, competition instead of cooperation, and I think that's really the key and into a brighter future.
I like that. Is that a Martin guitar behind you?
No, that was that's a Penco. That was one of the original Japanese copy attempts, and they did back in the early 70s, and they were really trying to prove that they could compete with Martin, and so I was told that it was an excellent copy of what they were trying to accomplish. And
I bought one over in Vietnam. I was over in Vietnam. In fact, we were on a very dangerous kind of bicycle rickshaw thing, and my wife freaked out. So I said, "Stop!" And it was right in front of a music store. And so I went in the music store, and because the guitar was so cheap, I bought it, like $15 or something. Yeah. It fell apart on the way home.
This particular one here has been through many travels and many hands, and ended up coming back to me after 30 years, and it's still in very good shape.
Oh, that's good.
Noah, tell us your dream about hempcrete and domes. Tell us your dream.
Excuse me. Oh,
are you make the domes?
Yes.
Oh shit, we got to talk, man. I got a big job headed for you.
Well, we'll work our way up to whatever big scale you wish to go.
I want to do a dome village for the migrants coming over.
I mean, mine's been basically able to bring the technology scale to make it affordable as possible, to create elegant housing that is basically not cardboard, I mean, and will last generations instead of the life of a mortgage.
Well, it's always location. So it's where you put the dome, And,
Tommy, how long will you be in BC? Because we're
just a couple of days.
Oh, okay. Because we're only hours from you. We could come up and see you.
Oh, I wanted to come and see you.
Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be easier for me to come and see you. Vancouver, it's Canada, and there's only so much we can do there. But in the States, man, we got a free reign, you know.
Well, Noah and I are both in Washington State. We live within 45 minutes of each other, and we'd love to have you come do some filming and see Noah's rig, and let's totally talk about the village.
What's your plan for the sewerage for the outhouses?
Oh, well, again, location, you know, and so basically I was appointed as the water and sewer commissioner in an incarnation in Snohomish County, north of Seattle here. So I experienced at design implementation of Class A water and sewer districts systems. So basically, I've built outhouses and state-approved systems.
That's what we need. That's what we need. You know, we need to learn how to use the waste. You know,
absolutely. Yeah. Basically, you know, my go-to is basically digesters with constructed wetland out, and so that gives you capacity to be able to clean the water. So the first system I built, let's see, what that was about 35 years ago, was by the New Alchemy Institute in at Woods Hole, and the designer came out and drank from after constructed wetland, and basically what it does is it purifies and digests, brings up all the toxins and ingredients and assimilates through a filtering process, and so you construct it accordingly to you know the scope and project, and have basic drinking quality. Oh.
Yeah, you're breaking up. I can't understand.
There's a barking dog somewhere and whoever has that dog should mute their screen.
We allow barking CBD dogs.
Yep.
Let's go around the horn.
That's my dog.
Tommy.
Well, he's nowhere near me. I'd tell him to shut up, but he's in the other room.
Hey, well, we're so glad to have everybody today. We're going to go around the horn and get final words from everybody, and have you back often and more, and raise the vibration, raise the awareness through film, through comics, through however we're going to do it. Tommy said when I interviewed him for the movie Lifers Madness, the original movie, he said, "I'm not a musician. I'm not a comedian. I'm a funny musician."
That's true. That's so true.
I don't forget much. Let's start with Rod. Tell us your backstory. How you were Grasshopper in Kung Fu, and final words.
Okay. Well, yeah. You know, all my life, just like you, Tommy. You know, people come up and say, you know, things to you about how you helped them understand something, laugh at something. Same thing with me. I mean, I didn't write the role, I didn't create the role, but I embodied it. And I've had all my life people coming up and saying, you know, how much that show influenced their lives. They either started doing martial arts or they started studying Asian, you know, Oriental philosophy, you know, Buddhism, Taoism, etc. And so from that, I learned that the power of the medium, film and television, has a tremendous responsibility to put ideas out there that are helpful, that bring people together. The potential exists, and we're using just a tiny fraction of what is possible. So I'm glad to know from the last conversation you and I had, Tommy, that you want to start a studio. You're putting a studio together. Clearly, that's going to be a pretty consciousness-raising effort, and I want to wish you a lot of luck with that. And if there's something I can help with, let me know.
Well, definitely. What I'm going to do, I'm doing it right now, is it's the power of the higher power has been guiding me. It's brought me to this point, to this point now, and I realize that the power of the movie industry. Well, what the movies do, they reflect life as it is, as it should be, what happens if you don't follow the rules, what it does.
It gives us hope. Also, it gives us hope.
Well, there was a what do you call it, a morality code that the early filmmakers bought into, and they used it for quite, for some time. It was the
Hays Code.
The Hays, yeah.
Before Terminator.
Well, before the gangster movies, that kind of thing. Before killing became a thrill sport, you see, right. what it is now. Well, so what we can do now with the movies, we can show people through documentaries more than anything. Like I want to do we got to do a documentary on Jack, and we got to do a documentary on everybody, really.
I already have that written, Tommy. You and I should talk.
We got to do it. We got to do it.
And actually, you're in it.
Yeah, and that's what I want to do. See, I have that power now, and that's how I'm going to use that power. And because, like Grasshopper, you played a role that someone else wrote. Well, with me, I've written almost everything that I've done in one form or another. Either I write it my way or I perform it my way. But I've always had a code that doesn't change. That's why when Cheech went off to play a cop with Don Johnson, I got offered the same role. And I turned it down. That was a lot of money, but I turned it down mainly because when we did Up in Smoke, and I saw the power of it wasn't the Cheech and Chong, it was the cannabis in that movie, and the way we addressed it and presented the cannabis.
You demystified it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and we presented. That's the path that I'm following, and that's the path I'm still on, and that's why what I'm doing now is going to we're going to delve into it. When I do signings now, I spend too much time with every customer, because everybody to me is a very special entity, a human being. Because that's what I learned in my metaphysical world, that we are all unique, one of a kind, each one of us, no matter who we are, no matter how big or how small or how deformed or how perfectly, we are all, there's no one on this world like us, and there never will be. Even your twin, identical twin, is a entity all by himself, all by itself. And so, what we have to do is use the technology that we're coming into. Like now, years ago we couldn't do what we're doing now.
Film definitely gets to more people than radio. Film definitely brings your eye into your heart. Your heart opens up when you see somebody holding hands in a film, and you go, "Wait, I can do that." And so It's leading by example. It's an ultra school. We already talked about Stanley Kubrick, right? And what's your legacy, Tommy? What movie do you want to make? And Dan and Noah and Rod. I'm so blessed to have really good seers here.
Well, the movie that I want to make, it's at least a 10-year project. Because what I want to do, what I am going to do, is document the migration of America. And by what I mean by document, for instance, the ones from the southern border.
Right.
What I want to do is do my due diligence, find out who was there, hire them, bring them into the country as actors, and I want to do that with Haiti. I want to do that with Somalia. I want to do that with every country in the world where you have this need to migrate, need to get out of where they're at for whatever reason, and especially with the young children, because that's the future of the world, is the young ones.
Do you remember Michael Jackson's song that he did in the studio? We are the world. We
Yeah.
are the children. Let's make
Yeah.
a better day and let's
Yeah.
start living. I mean, it's time for that, and I feel that when I heard you say that we're all going to come together in that one film, and it could just be called One. The name of the film.
And it's going to continue, because now if you look at what's on TV now, it's not just one film. It's like series. They're what do you call it? Episodes, one after another and after another, and then there can be a pause in between episodes,
Right.
and then they come back, and so that's what people are more interested now. When I do live performance or live appearances rather than performances, because now I'm at the stage of my life where people want to tell me their experiences with what I introduced them to, and to me, I want to hear those stories. Not only hear them, but I want to film them.
It's legacy. It's legacy. It's your legacy, Tommy. Well, we're going around the horn, everybody here. We're at the top of the hour. Rod, we were just finishing up with you. What's your final words on the prisoners in prison over the holidays?
Hang in there. We're working to get you out, and there will be a better day for you.
Okay, we're going to go around the horn. I'll be the last one. Dan, final words and thoughts about the future, the present, and what you got plans.
Well, it always starts with me with education, the same as I was brought up. Through watching my father learn about cannabis, to me being able to absorb that information, and us being able to express our understanding of what that truth is, and how that has really helped to inspire people to find their voices. And I think that that continuing that it actually relates to everything, both what Tommy wants to do, both what Rod is talking about, and that is this evolution of self-discovery, and that's really what it's all about. Whether you're talking about this plant or the understanding of our own evolution as an individual, and for me, like when you talk about this movie, when you talk about what Tommy wants to do and what I would like to do in this screenplay that I've already written, it was the evolution of my father being this very right leaning conservative Republican, Barry Goldwater, just he was he was very trapped within that space. And at the age of 30, he discovered cannabis through the power of a woman. And through that relationship, he found the truth that was hidden from all of us, and he felt betrayed by this country. And the evolution of that led him to find his voice and to find this unyielding, unforgiving, assault on prohibition. And through that story and the people that came in and out of his life, like Tommy Chong, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like Woody Harrelson, like all of these folks that are in and around and weaved throughout all of cannabis, is the story of self realization and a real way for people to connect with, not just that cannabis was made legal in 1996 for medical purposes, or it was made recreationally legally in 2012 in Colorado and 2018 in California. But it's really, the progression of understanding and the fulfillment of finding the evolution of truth through relationships, on both sides. The folks that fought for the right to use and have cannabis in their life without fear of going to jail, and those who would actually, through their own ignorance, to conspire to continue the lie of prohibition. And the story that I've written is really an exploration of how these two dynamics work to and with each other to get us to where we are today. Both the pro and the con side of the war on people and the war on drugs and the war on this plant. And it's extraordinary, the evolution of finding ourselves, and the fact that I was able to watch my father and see that throughout 40 years of his life before he passed away in 2010, and then being able to sit back and really go back through all of my experiences and all of my friends' experiences and all of his friends' experiences and bring those into a story that actually resonate with all of our lives, whatever side you believe on cannabis, it exists within this piece that I've done.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And what about the holiday hope for the prisoners?
There's not a day that goes by that I don't reflect or am face to face with the realities of this war on drugs and how it affects good people, not just in this country but globally, and that through education and through the energies of people like Tommy and people like Steve D'Angelo and people like yourself and people like Rod and people even like people like myself who continue to face the obstacles in front of us without fear and continue to push forward with information and love and understanding and education, that these people have every day. There's a greater hope of getting them released from this incarceration and this nightmare that they've had to live because they've loved a plant and they've loved an opportunity to express themselves with it. And there is hope for the future as long as our voices are never silent.
Fantastic. Well, we love you, Dan, and you have a place in our heart. I can't wait to be involved with your production of your movie at Tommy's studio. Who would you want to play Dad? Who would you want to play Dad?
Funny enough, and there's a couple of people that I think that really could
pull it off
justice, and
because they got to spritz and they got to be screamers,
Well, I think that I would like to actually have that conversation with Tommy away from this particular environment, because I think that I wouldn't want to. I would rather it be something extraordinarily powerful when it does happen, and I wouldn't want to taint it in any way until that moment.
Well, when my mom was alive, she wanted Barbara Streisand to play her. She said, "I'm Babs. I am Babs."
But I will tell you this: that it has to be somebody that is not just an actor, but actually has a connection to this plant, because it's the only thing that's truly going to make the role of who plays my father meaningful. That it has to be so powerful and come from a place that's not just acting. It has to come from a soul of somebody who was touched by this plant.
A 420 actor. Well, fantastic. We love you, Dan. And, we got things going on in the background ourselves. Hemp Parade, Dan, and happy holidays. We'll see you soon again, and I'll call you about...
Love and appreciate all of you.
I'll call you about our other projects. And Tommy,
Yeah.
Oh no. Let's get to Noah first. Noah, any final
Noah,
words
how are you doing, brother?
for our prisoner, Noah?
Well, Tommy, in our brief conversation here, and what it was saying is that he touched on several things that really rang extremely true to me. Was that it's really time to bring all the technologies and all the understandings and realities, and whether they be physical, technical, or spiritual, to really bear at this point and create what I really loved is segue to doing a film and bringing in actors, from different lands as migrants, but into creating a stage and as a village for creating a new reality, and doing that on a documentary basis. I mean, it's brilliant, but
That's
really,
the ultimate reality show.
well, right. I mean, it's really taking the power of film and not only creating a stage show, but a reality that is, with all the resources that it takes to create
Authentic truth with people from the street, not just
right.
actors.
But taking it takes to create a film stage, but actually create a reality that defines new opportunity, because the technologies are serving us instead of us serving the technologies. So if I can be of any assistance in any way, form, with whatever is valuable, that I've been honored. So
We'll build the village. The angels, the Can Angels, put us 4 people together today. Oh no, are we 2, 4, 5? There's 5 of us, and I'm not even stoned. And well, I'm not going to tell you if I am or not. But everybody, we have Sir Tommy to give us final words. Take us home, Tommy.
I just want to. Last night when I was talking to Harvey, I got accused of being the most optimistic guy he'd ever met in his life. because that's when you realize that we are eternal beings, that's pretty heavy. We've always been here in one form or another, and the reason we're doing this right now is it's ordained. There's a reason why we are all together right now, because what we're about to do, and it started, probably before I was born, but what we're about to do is to gently, very gently, show people the joys of being comfortable, being well fed, having access to all the knowledge available on the planet, and to have the ability to help people, because that really is our job.
Yay.
Our job is to help each other. That's why we have sunshine, because even the power of the sun is made through a combinations of chemical reactions that are very violent and so incredibly gentle when they need to be, but yet so gentle, so harsh. And so what we've done, we're of the sun. We are knowledge put in body form to do exactly what we're doing. And there's no, the only reward, like with me, as I get older, the only reward is this feeling of gratitude that I have every morning when I wake up. I have this incredible feeling. Sometimes I'll wake up sad. I'll have a bad dream, and I'll wake up sad. And what am I sad about? I'm sad because I'm so happy. The only way that I can get more happy is to get sad. Because
wait, duality. We talked about duality.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I want to do right now, like after we talk, I'm going to go have a quiet moment by myself and just digest the fact that I met a guy that has the answer to my problem of living on this planet, using using the very plant to make a shelter for us. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Because my son now, he lives in Tofino, which is north. It's a Vancouver Island, on the farthest west side of the Vancouver Island, and so he basically lives in an Indian village because the whole area was native, the natives, and so the hemp. We're going to build the hemp the village there. We're going to start with Tofino, and we're going to we're going to.
Is that him?
No, that's Paris.
Oh, that's
my
Paris.
oldest. That's my oldest boy.
Okay.
No, it's my young musician.
Oh, great.
I've got a son. I told him half in jest, that I says, your dad's rich enough that you could become a jazz musician, and he took me up on it. so he's a jazz musician. I support him, and I can't wait to go there and build my the hemp village, because it's going to be a village. The natives had it made for a while there. Periods of their life was hard, but periods of their life they had it made. They had the perfect village in the perfect forest, and they spend most of the days carving beautiful images. We're going to do that, and we're going to show Jeff. And as far as a shout out to the prisoners, but being a prisoner, I got to tell you one thing: when you go in there and you have knowledge of God, your stay can be so productive, like mine was. It was not only productive, but beautiful in every way, shape. I mean, everything. There was no want, need, or desire, because everything I needed was at my fingertips. And when I got hungry, I went and ate. When I got tired, I went to sleep. And when I was ready to write, I sat down uninterrupted. So don't feel bad about prisoners. Believe me, it sounds terrible.
Well,
if you're on the outside looking in.
The hope of love through family and spirit. When you're in prison, you were telling me once in an interview that that's what got you through. You knew that love was outside waiting for you. Oh,
for sure. And it's outside and it's inside. Like we are all little heating elements, really, just our presence can warm a place, or it can freeze a place, depending on what's inside you, Mm-hmm. And it's all thought. Think about this. Everything we do requires thought. And this, I'll leave you with this here. The most powerful thought in this universe is the thought of God. Just the thought. And when you connect, we have God apps, and when you connect with that app, then all of a sudden you are in the mix. You are in the mix, and you're getting the messages. And all you have to do, people asked me one time, I did a movie about God, and they said, so did you talk to God today? And I said, no, I never talked to God. I listened to God.
Love it.
Well, that's the fifth agreement. We become listeners, and we take all four agreements and put them into one. Miguel Ruiz was my friend and is my friend, and we're blessed to have Tommy on board. This Spirit Talk today was over the top, Lee, special. We were going to have a holiday movie, but we will soon. I'm going to roll out of here, everybody, and bless everybody on this day to make your dreams come true, to bring the prisoners home, and to, and just to say crazy. There's Booba G. Booba G sometimes flies past the screen here, and Rodimus gave me that about 20 years ago. And so no matter if you're trans, or if you're a bozo, you know that you have something to say. It's about your legacy, everybody. It's about holding your parents' legacy. My father always comes on board. There's my dad, everybody, and my dad had his legacy, and he lived 30 years in Mexico. And my dad was a brilliant seer and an architect, and he would love hempcrete. And so, Papa, we are doing your work. And so that's my dad, and I'm so glad that we're all together today. I'm going to share screen and roll us out of here. See you all next time. Happy holidays, and I'll see you on World 420 Day, everybody. I'm sharing screen right now, and we're going to roll out.
Many blessings to you all.
We're going to roll out with the 20 video that I made. And Jeff Mazansky called in today. So if you want to stay around, you can. Jeff Mazansky is in this video here. And here we go, everybody. Hello, everybody. It's Jeff Eichen with Weeds Day. Today's episode is honoring Lance Glore. Yes, all the prisoners still left in prison, we are coming for you. We are planning to do a restitution fund, and we are planning to do an art project for the prisoners in jail to raise money for their families and put money aside for when you come home for food and shelter. We're here for you, and we love you, and we're not going to stop until we bring all of you home. Okay, hemp hooray, and get ready for today's incredible original film of Reefer Madness. And we're going to sit and join Tommy Chong and Rod Perot, which is he's Grasshopper, and we're going to snatch the bud, and we are going to totally enjoy ourselves today on a holiday movie. So sit back, get a big bamboo rolling paper, and roll a big one, and just sit back and watch this absurd movie. Hemp hooray, everybody. We have Jeff Mazansky here in jail for 21-9 for weed. Say hi to Tommy and the gang.
Hi, how y'all doing? Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
And what do you got to say for hope for the rest of our prisoners today?
Well, we keep working. All of us keep working together for the same cause, and we will get all of our brothers and sisters out. And it's, another thing we need to all look at is keep an eye on your representatives, your congressmen, and all that, and see what they're doing for you, because they're supposed to be working for you. You're not working for them. If they don't do what you want, let's vote them out and get somebody in there that can and will, because the power of the people should be standing up.
Power to the people. We love you, Jeffrey, and we're glad you're home and you're an outstanding citizen. We're going to say hemp hooray and put you in. And final words.
Hemp hooray. Happy holidays.
These high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain. Innocently they dance. Innocent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. In this film, you will see the ease with which this vicious plant can be grown in your neighbor's yard, rolled into harmless-looking cigarettes. Smoking the soul-destroying reefer, they find a moment's pleasure, but at a terrible price. Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide. And the ultimate end of the marijuana addict. humanity. See this important film now,
before it's too late. I'm your host, Jeff Eichen, human rights advocate and social activist fighting for government deregulation of weed and the release of all nonviolent criminals incarcerated for possession of marijuana, moving violations, parking tickets, IRS debt, etc. Here on Weeds Day, we keep the public informed about all things weed related, including festivals and legislation surrounding regulating the growth of hemp. Blessed that we had a great day today, and Dan, thank you so much for sharing and carrying on the legacy. Rod, thank you for coming, being one of our teachers and our students. I mean, we're all students here. And Noah, thank you also. I know you're muted there, but thank you for coming in at last minute and getting to connect with the village. And hopefully we'll be able to modify and make the village with your technology. So Hemp and Parade, everybody. Have a happy holidays season. Be safe, everybody. And don't forget, 3, 2, 1. That's weed, that's peace, and that's F Schedule 1. So let's get it over with. 3, 2, 1, and adios, amigos. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Love you.
Blessings.
Thank you, Jeff.
Bye. See you on the other side. Yeah.
Bye, Dan.
Hemp Parade. Thanks, Noah. Love you.
Oh, bye-bye.
And bye, Tommy.